Hey, what's up, friends and family? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since I uploaded. I'm sorry about that. I had a really busy October. It was good in a lot of ways, so I'm not complaining, but it kept me from YouTube. But I did manage to sit down and record a lot of the feedings, and you're going to see that here. I'm going to get to it. Now, I want to show off how I do target training, but I don't want this to be an instructional video. Don't get me wrong. If you want to learn how to target train, you really need to follow Torrini on YouTube and Patreon. I'll put links in the description. By the way, if you like this video, go ahead and like it, hit subscribe, and if you're interested in more of these conversations, join the community on Patreon as well. I'll put links to that in the description. But I'm not going to keep you from it too long. I'm going to go over my feeding schedule and how I target train these snakes, and we're going to watch about 15 different meals. Now, a lot of it's sped up because target training takes time. It takes a lot of patience, and the snakes really move pretty slowly. So you'll see, especially the boas, when they're coming out of target, it's not always very quick. It may take them several minutes to think about moving. The retic, I asked him to do a lot, so his target sessions were long. So there's going to be a lot of cuts and a lot of fast forwarding, but we'll get to the good stuff. Anyways, check it out. So I just want to show you a quick way of how I prepare some of these meals. Later on, you'll see me feed these two quail, but here I want to put it at the front of the video so you get a good understanding of some things that I do with a lot of my feeders. First, I dry them off. So the birds I have to defrost in hot water because their bodies are thick and so are their feathers, and you'll never get to them. You just won't get the heat into them. So I use water, so that's why they're wet, and I dry them off so that they're a little bit drier. And then I dust them. And what this is, you'll see the powder here in a little bit. I'll set it up. But this is some Arcadia Earth Pro A, and you could use this at every single feeding. It's just some extra vitamins and minerals that they would normally get from the dirt that's on the ground of the rodents that they eat. Some bee pollen, some extra superfoods in there too. And what I'm just doing, I'm just dusting the feed. And you'll see here in a second, I try and dust the adult quail, and it ain't happening in this little tub. So I use a little bit bigger tub, and I really regret it actually, because I was kind of wasteful with the amount of powder that I used there. I kind of wanted to get a good view of it for the camera, but ultimately it was not necessary to use that much. So don't have to use that much. That's how you could dust the little babies, but I would probably use my hands if I wasn't recording and just kind of rub it over the legs of this animal instead of getting it all over the feather coat. But here you can see these are some good supplements you could use. The calcium and magnesium, you don't want to use that every single time. That's something you use every fourth feeding. But yeah, if you're interested in supplementing your feeders, Arcadia's got a pretty great program. I'll put a link to that in the description. I took this video just in the middle of the night. I was doing some regular feeding, and really something remarkable happened with Harvey, the rainbow boa I'm targeting in this video right here. And it was really awesome to see some progress that we haven't seen in years. So I wanted to film him and then film some repetition with Midas as well, some training with my super dwarf articulated python. So this is a really great example of target training. And I had someone ask a question last time on Facebook when I shared a video of target training, and they said, kind of snotty, what's the point of this? And I didn't really answer. And the reason was because I didn't really have the time or patience to do so. Because it's not just about training in terms of sit, stay, obedience lessons that you get the same with a dog. The point of training is to engage the brain. And that's really what's happening here. Now, in this video, about 4 minutes prior, Harvey had done a really good repetition. He ate, he followed the target, he touched it with his nose, and just paused there. And this is something that he hasn't been able to do in years of training. He'd always been really afraid of the target. So to see him just follow this target and not strike at it wildly, and you'll see what I mean by that when you get later on in this video and you see the python, it really makes a difference. It's really interesting. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit here. We're going to see a little bit of activity. He responded really quick to the target. He's just actually still processing the winged rat from his previous meal. So I'm holding this target for a while. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit and just get him through that digestive phase. And here, I'll back it up. You can actually see a really cute little yawn from him right here. I just love this reaction, and he's adjusting his jaws ready to take on his second meal. And here, right here is where you really start to see him really start to come out and notice the target. Now the goal of this is really to get Harvey trained on recognize the target so he doesn't blindly food strike everything that comes out. And here you can see he's clearly interested in the target, but he's not striking it. So he's not confused. He doesn't think that any moving thing coming into his enclosure is food. He clearly recognizes that this is an indicator for food, but it is not yet the food. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to wait till he touches it, and then as soon as he touches it, I'm going to remove it and replace it with a food item. So you're not going to really see the touch at this angle because of just the positioning of the camera, but you will see me replace it with food, and you can see that it doesn't take him long to react to the food and strike it. Boop. And here I'm just genuinely pleased. So you get the nerdy selfie with the picture there. So now here's a look at how the Super Dwarf Reticulated Python Midas does it. As you can see, a little bit different. First thing is I'm opening his door with a hook. I don't always do this, but he is standing right next to the door, or excuse me, just lying next to the door. You need feet, I guess, to stand. And as you can see, it comes right out. And sometimes when he sees the heat signature and it's foggy through the door like that, he gets excited and he'll bite the cage. And I really don't want him to just slam his face against the plastic. So I use the hook so he doesn't get that heat signature. As you can see, he is clearly interested. It smells like defrosting prey in here. Now what I'm going to do with the target, as I move over there to the side, you can see he's already following my body behind the camera. But my goal for this is to really just kind of do some stretching. So these snakes, there's a report from Daniel Solis came out recently about these snakes diving off of cave walls to catch bats. And I loved that. And so I thought, I want to target this snake. I've targeted him outside of the enclosure. I've targeted him all the way inside his enclosure, back again. And he does a good job of following it so long as he's got stuff to hold on to. But he'll only come out so far. And so this, I really want to give him a chance to really extend himself and stretch his body out far. So here I'm just getting him used to the target. He's coming around to the side. And then you'll see I'll pull it out further out to the side and just try and get him to come out. And I edited out about 3 minutes of video here just to delete kind of getting him back on track. It took him a while. He got scared and confused and just sort of sat curled up in a strike position by the front of his door. So I brought back the target, and then I brought back the food, and here I am just trying to entice him to go out and stretch out and stay out of his comfort zone. And here he came so close, but he missed it. Now the camera angle it's not as flat as it looks. There's actually probably a good 20 inches between me and the cage there. So it's a bit of a bad perspective because I'm kind of in front of it and to the side. So you can't really tell that, but he's about 20 inches of strike out there, and that's why he missed the target, because he had to move about 9-10 inches for his body, and it just wasn't accurate enough there, so he actually hit the target. I'm not going to quit. I'm not trying to wave the target around, but that's just how it wobbles after a bit of time. And here he goes. He's interested in the prey again, and now he got it. And here he is, just working down the prey. It's going to take him about 3 minutes total to swallow this whole thing, but a few minutes after that to get comfortable enough to strike again. So for the next repetition, I had a little bit more of a clear goal in mind, and the first one was to get him back from the side of the cage. So he started to go off to the back. He loves hanging out. I've got some pictures framed on the wall, and he loves using those as like ledges to climb on, like a little cave wall. It's fun, but it's just not a great place for him to hang out. So I'm going to use the target to pull him out, and I was actually really amazed with how well he came out from the side here. And of course, the whole point of that is just to get him back. So there you go. You saw him lunge out at the target. I didn't even have the prey out yet. He's fond of lunging at the target, and I've got him out here stretched out where I want. So now I just set the target up at a distance, and I've got the prey kind of loaded up, and let's see if he'll stretch out again for prey. Just the same goal as last time. Let's get him to stretch as far as he can. And here you can see he's going to go ahead and start stretching out, and really just the learning difference between the first repetition and the second, as far as him realizing how far he can stretch out for food, is pretty amazing. So we'll keep him going out, and we'll see if eventually I can get him to leap out like they do in Kalatoa. But here he goes. He's gonna snatch the prey right off the screen and bring it back in and drip it all over the ground again too. So just really interesting, really kind of fun to see and experiment and play with them while I target train and watch these animals learn. So that's one of my favorite parts about keeping them, is just getting to see their behavior grow and change over time. And so here we go. So from here on out, it's just going to be bonus footage. There's a lot of footage here of me doing some other targets. So I wanted to save that for you. Here I'm back at Harvey's cage. You can see him right down there, right at the entrance. So we're going to jump right into it. He was ready to go. Now for this repetition, I really wanted to get him to stretch out. So it's going to last a long time, and I want him to get some really good distance on here. So the target's going to come off frame a few times, but the whole point is to get him to really stretch out and really get outside that comfort zone. And I think he just did an amazing job. And sorry the camera's not here, because this is a great job. I replaced the target with the prey, and he does an amazing job of snatching it up and just recognizing it. So really proud of the work here, but bummed that I didn't catch it on camera. It's a bit of a difficulty using the tripod. So here's a new learner. This is Lady, and I actually got her as an adult. She's on breeding loan, and she's a bit of a new learner. She's only been target training for about 6 months, and I'm still at the phase of pairing the target with food. Now this is something interesting. You can see I'm holding the rat by kind of the back legs, and I've noticed that she's very visually oriented. So you're gonna see me here adjust this prey. And when I do, that's when you'll really notice that you see right there, she's interested in it. She's coming out, but she hasn't struck yet. And she's got no hesitation in striking. She'll strike at something far away. So there's something about that rat dangling that she just doesn't like. As soon as I set it down over here and readjust it, and I'm going to pick it up by the spine and look at this difference. So I hang it the right way so it's facing like a rat normally faces. And after just about 5-10 seconds there, bam, she snatches it. I wanted to show you here, I had a little jacaranda tree just off to the right. Do you see it? Tiny little sapling. Barely survived her strike, barely dodged it. She totally destroyed a peperomia. Anyways, she crushed that a day later anyway. Here's a really, really exciting one. This is Maisie, my Colombian rainbow boa, and she has a kink in her spine, and she's really not been target trained at all. I've been working with her, but she never seemed to approach it at all. So all of a sudden in the past few months, she's really started to pay attention to the target. It suddenly clicked, and I couldn't be more proud. So check out this snake. She's got some spinal issues and some deformities that make her behave a little differently, and you'll see that later on as well. I have a second repetition with her, but this is really interesting. I loved how she targeted how she went towards the target, and you'll see when she wraps this rat, it's actually pretty exciting. She falls all over the place. So you see a little spazzy, and that's just her. She's that way, but normally she doesn't even target. So the fact that she struck it, hit it, and wrapped while following the target was amazing, because she struggles to even eat food that's sitting still. And here's Summer, my rosy boa. Just wanted to show you this to show you how we're still practicing with this learner. He's been training as long as Harvey, the rainbow boa. As you can see, he's at a different level. He doesn't strike prey. And that's kind of his way. He'll strike prey a few times in early summer, and that's it. Otherwise, he's in breeding mode in spring and in brumation mode in the fall. And in the summer, he likes to get drop fed. So we're really working on the target and encouraging that feeding appetite. You see here, I'm going to leave that little quail there for him. He went back and ate it about 20 minutes later, but that's kind of his feeding process. It takes a lot of time. But I was glad, really pleased that he showed interest in the target. Here also I had a little hopper mouse for him, a hopper mouse and a quail. I left them both to let him choose. He ended up ignoring the hopper but eating the quail. That's okay. The hopper became isopod food. And we're back at Midas, the super dwarf reticulated python. Go ahead and get that door out of the way. You can see, of course, it wouldn't be a retic if he wasn't ready at the door waiting for food. Now for this one, you see the prey, there's a little sausage inside that bin. I'm going to try and get him to come down into the bin. I start with the bin, there's a hole on the lid. I think that was a little ambitious though, so we're going to change that eventually, but we'll see here how he targets out of the enclosure. And you can see I've taken the lid off the top and he can see into that bin with the Reptilink sitting inside. And we just got a lot more reaction from him. He spent about 2 or 3 minutes really confused, and then another 3 or 4 minutes kind of frustrated and confused and not figuring it out. So puzzle feeding is great. However, puzzle feeding and trying to target feed, I was just doing too much. And I kept this in because I want to show you just an example of how you can really overdo it and try and do too much and stress your snake out. Now see here, we're going to get some strikes. The prey is right in front of the target, and he keeps striking at the target. Boom, there's one at the target. He was just 2 inches away from the prey, but didn't realize that it was right there. So I've got some ideas of what I should do here. I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to get it a little bit closer to him, give him a little better chance, make it a little bit more stable, so I move it around. I'm going to realign that target here. Boom, there's another strike. Again, at the target. He's not hitting the target though anymore, which is nice. He's stopping just a little short of it. So he's starting to realize that actually striking the target doesn't equal food. So hopefully he gets out of that habit, because I hate to see it. So now at this point, he's found the box, so I've removed the target because he's where I want him to be. And he had a couple of those bluff strikes, but he's just sitting there, and he's starting to tongue flick and get real curious, and he's really exploring the space, but he's still not just picking up that prey. And part of it, I think, is the fact that it's a sausage. Even though he's had at least 40 of them by this point, he's it's still not prey. So I'm going to try and get it to move a little bit. Here I am using the hook just to stabilize the bin, because earlier he had moved it and it kind of spooked him, and I don't want him to do that. I want him to feel secure. So I'm holding it still, and the prey is just sitting in there. But ultimately he's not going to take it. So we're going to have to figure out a little bit of something just to get him to entice. He's already targeted to the spot I want him to target, but he hasn't taken the prey yet. So I start moving the bin a little bit, just with the hook, just to hopefully get that thing to roll. So there's lots of touching and poking and sniffing around at it, but still no eating, and now the tub's starting to move, so it's starting to deteriorate. So I go ahead and get a little bold here, and it pays off. So I just give it a boop, a little wiggle. Right away he recognizes, oh, that's what I wanted, and he grabs it. Here's another repetition for Maisie, and I'll just watch it because it's pretty self-explanatory. It's pretty awesome seeing this young learner do her thing, and she did so great. She targeted really well. But here I'll show you. She's back to her old way. She struck the prey a few times. You'll watch her do that, and it just wasn't working with the dangle. So I switched the same way I did with Lady. I switched it up to hold the prey more by the back of the scruff of the neck or its spine. And she had a much more natural strike and was able to take the prey. So it's not just about presenting the prey, it's also about how you hold it. You'll see what I'm talking about here in just a second if you watch what's coming up after this quick little transition cut here. So we're back at Midas, and this is not the same night, by the way. This is another night, and we're back to feeding this snake, and you'll see. I just wanted to show you a different way of targeting him. So now the bin's gone entirely, and the prey is just down there. So again, really just getting him to come out far for his prey, and the goal is still to get him to come out and jump all the way, but we're working on it. We're just getting him more and more comfortable with different tricks, and this is one of the things that works really well. It's actually just putting it right on the target, especially these links. Sometimes if you're holding him with tongs, he will grab so hard that he'll just rip them in half, and then you're left holding the other piece. So putting it on the target, bam, his accuracy is pretty cool. He was about 8 inches away when he struck that, and just awesome. So here we go, back to Lady. This is another fun feeding mishap. You'll see what I mean when I say mishap here. So this snake is interesting because I put the target up and she started following it, which was awesome. And then I gave her the quail, and you can see I'm standing over the camera, I'm holding the quail, it's an awkward angle. I kind of look away, and when I do so, I get a bad grip on the quail. It starts to slip out, and right then, that's when I decide I'm gonna set it down. So I haven't done it yet, so I'm about to drop it just because I'm losing my grip with those tongs, so I need to readjust. As soon as I did that, watch here, Lady gonna come out at the target. And again, if you remember from the early reps, she doesn't like to eat stuff off the ground. She likes to target it. So she's completely covered her prey, and I can't really reach in with the tongs because she is looking at me intensely. And so I decided I had another quail defrosting for Harvey, the other rainbow boa, and I thought I'd just offer her that one and see if she'd go for it. And sure enough, worked out. So you'll see here. So I'm switching prey, and I got it by the back of the spine, so it's really presented it straightforward. And bam, she crushed it. Grab the other quail, give that to her future boyfriend. So here we're gonna watch her eat it a little bit. She's so beautiful, but I love the way that the camera caught her eyes right here. Super cool. I love snakes. And after this, we're just gonna move on. We're gonna watch Harvey do one more repetition. I'm not gonna talk to this one. It's gonna be the final one. Watch him come out. He's got a beautiful enclosure. He comes all the way out of it, all the way to the side, and enjoys a really big quail. So enjoy this beautiful Brazilian rainbow boa eating his last prey. Thanks for watching. This is a long video, but I wanted to show all the different ways target training can go, how it can go right, how it can go wrong, and the sort of adaptations I make on the fly. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the channel. Please like and subscribe. If you made it this far and you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Figure it out, all right? You spent 30 minutes on this video. I think you should subscribe to the channel, all right? You're the perfect market. So thank you so much for watching, and if you do, I suggest checking out Patreon. These are my patrons here, and I couldn't do this page without them. I'm super grateful and honored, honestly, to have these folks supporting me. So links in the bio. Check it out. Enjoy the rest of this video.